In today's show, we're looking at Sunday in the NBA and what players we can stream to win our weekly matchups. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I am the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Twitter as always at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball, and Substack joshloyd48.substack.com. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code Locked On. That's PrizePicks.com. The promo code is Locked On. Thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. So we are here looking at Sunday. Players we can stream in to help us win the weekly matchup. I've already done the Week 7 preview, talking about ways we can maximize our chances of winning Week 7. Go check that out as well. And we're going to look at your category leagues and points leagues here, guys, that we can stream in for Sunday. So, Wani.
Let's get it on, Gilly.
All right. Let's have a look. Yahoo points leagues. That's where we want to start. These guys are all available in over 50% of Yahoo points leagues. Killian Hayes. It's going to be an up and down ride with Killian Hayes. We saw last game he was really good. Now, the Pistons maybe are getting a bunch of guys back or maybe have a bunch of guys out. For Sunday, it's Jaden Ivey, Bojan Bogdanovic, Isaiah Stewart, and Sadiq Bey are all listed questionable. Now, they could all play. They could all be out. But the thing is that Cade Cunningham still remains out. So that gives Hayes a chance to put up some solid numbers. I don't know what's going to happen in that front court. But, if Stewart is back and Bey is back, then that impacts Stewart and Bey. But if Stewart is back and Bey is back, but Bogdanovic is out, then Bey takes Bogdanovic's minutes. There's a lot of unknowns there. But I think Hayes, he might be relatively safe. Now, the question marks are going to be Ivy, Bey, Bogdanovic, Stewart, who play the 2, 3, and 4. Not the guy who plays the 1, relatively secure. The guys at the 5, like Jalen Duren, I think, relatively secure. So I still think Bagley and Duren will play all the center minutes. It won't impact Stewart there. So I think both Hayes and Duren are worthy stream options for Sunday for Yahoo points leagues. We've also got to look at Lil John Conchar.
Okay.
Desmond Bane is out. Conchar is available. He's going to play a lot of minutes. He's going to be, I think, pretty useful to go and grab and to use, at least while Bane is out. Kevon Looney, never going to blow us away. But the role is relatively secure. Had a good game last time out, I think it was. He's just solid. Another Detroit player. This one might get impacted a little bit.
Alec Berg.
But I do think that with Cade Cunningham out, Burks has at least a 20-minute-a-night role. And that might be enough. But the Bey, Bogdanovic, Stewart situation has some impact. And Ivy has some impact on him. Immanuel Quickley. Now, when I was doing all this stuff, and you could see it on the thumbnail, the video if you clicked in, or even on the show graphic card for the audio, is that Immanuel Quickley's face is on there. Because in nearly all of these ones that I'm doing, his name keeps coming up. Now, he's wildly inconsistent. His minutes are inconsistent. His play is inconsistent. His shooting's inconsistent. But I do think he's a pretty interesting option for Sunday for Yahoo points leagues. We'll talk category leagues soon. But I think he is an interesting option for Yahoo points leagues. There is uncertainty around Cam Reddish. Jalen Brunson is questionable with a quad issue. Derrick Rose has got a toe issue. So Quickley could play 35 minutes here. He could be the starting point guard. Now, of course, Thomas Thibodeau does whatever he can to avoid starting Quickley. But if Brunson and Rose are out, what other choice does he have? So that'll be something to watch. Tyus Jones got some streaming value. He does cross over a little bit with Ja Morant, and there are minutes there with both Bane and Williams out. So, yeah, he's an option. And in Washington, Denny Avdia, who's getting his 30 minutes a night as a starter. Monte Morris and Rui Hachimura are questionable, which can have an impact on him, but I still think he's going to have some value as a streamer. For ESPN points leagues, I changed my cutoff to these guys have got to be available in over 70% of leagues, and still the names are astonishing. D'Anthony Melton is available in over 70% of ESPN leagues. And I know you're going to tell me, well, my ESPN league is taken. That's cool, right? I get that. But what cutoff do I use to make these numbers? 10%? A 90% of ESPN leagues inactive? A 90% of them just so they can have a group chat to like roast each other and not worry about playing fantasy? What is going on? I think 30% rostered under that is a good cutoff for like common sense. But D'Anthony Melton is still available. Shake Milton is still available. He's rostered in 11% of leagues on ESPN. Like, pull your fingers out of your asses. These guys are must roster players. Of course, you want to stream them for Sunday, but they're must roster. Jaden McDaniels. Now, I'm not as worried about him being available. He's not that great of a points league guy, and he doesn't have really real big spike or anything like that. But he's a great option for Sunday. We talked about him already, but Lil John Concha.
Yeah!
Kevon Looney, Killian Hayes, Tyus Jones. These are all guys available on ESPN who are worth looking at on Sunday. And Storm and Norman Powell is an option there too, with Paul George, Kawhi Leonard all ruled out, Luke Kennard out as well. Yeah, Powell is going to have that extra responsibility and extra value for us there on Sunday. So there are some options. I cannot believe Melton and Milton are available. Please add them if you're in an ESPN league. They have to be added. Not just for Sunday, but they just have to be added. Today's episode is brought to you by Turo. Turo is the world's largest car sharing marketplace. With Turo, Turo, you can book any car you want, wherever you want it, from a community of local hosts. Browse a huge selection of vehicles for just about any occasion or budget across the US, UK, Canada, and now in Australia. Book a spacious SUV or minivan for a family road trip. Get a classic or luxury car for a special event, birthday, or holiday. Find that affordable economy car if you're on a budget and you just need to get from A to B. Or go test drive that electric vehicle to see how it drives and how it fits into your everyday life. Many Turo hosts can even deliver the car right to you. Every trip is backed by liability insurance. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply. Forget boring rental cars and find your drive at Turo.com. This Turo ad read is it's interesting. I'm always looking at this stuff here. Turo. It can't be pronounced Turo. I'm sorry. You tell me it's pronounced Turo. I know I'm going on about this. It cannot be pronounced Turo. And you also tell me avoid using rental car, but then you say forget boring rental cars. I don't know. Anyway, Turo's good. The ad read's confusing. Turo's good. Go and check it out. Shout out to the blokes over at Turo, now available in Australia. Let's go to category leagues. Who do we stream in? Who can provide us value in a category league in the individual categories? Points. Who can help us in points? Timmy Hardaway. I mean, maybe. Maybe he scores 2 points on 1 of 9 shooting. Maybe he has 28 points on 7 of 9 shooting. I don't know. But we know he's going to get shots up. Same with Seth Curry, who seems to have gotten the minutes over Joe Harris. Supplanted him, basically. Well, not fully, but getting those minutes there. So he's an option. Adrian Griffin Jr. in Atlanta. Really love what he's doing. I do think that value is going to drop when Bogdan Bogdanovic returns eventually. But Griffin's getting 20 a night. Justin Holiday's been turfed out of the rotation. Griffin's good. And he's a good points option. Grayson Allen with Chris Middleton still out. There's that guy, old mate Immanuel Quickley. Yeah, he is, again, a real opportunity for a big night for him. Tyus Jones, Terrence Mann, good scoring option, good minutes option. We know those guys that are out with the Clippers, and Mann's available in a lot of leagues. And then, amazingly, Dorian Finney-Smith. I know he's shithouse, but you're going to get 35 minutes a night, and there'll be a night where he drops 15 or 16. I can't tell you when it is, but I can tell you that the minutes will be relatively secure for him. We're streaming in three-pointers. Well, similar names here. Sethi Curry's in there. Big fella, the minivan, George Niang, with Joel Embiid out as well. That does help Niang. He can hit 7 triples really easy. In Boston, Jason Tatum is out with that ankle sprain. All right? I don't know. Now, he heard it about 3 or 4 days ago, played, and then he's out again. It's a little bit worrying that it's flared up. But with him out, what about old mate Sammy Hauser, who is going to take a lot of threes? He's going to have to play more minutes, so is Grant Williams. But Hauser's going to have to play more minutes. He could hit 5, easy. He could have 20 points with 5 threes. Like, really easily, Sam Hauser. They could play him 25 minutes. I think he's actually really good. I think I know he's a really good shooter, but I actually think he's an underrated defender. And I think the part of my issue with Sam Hauser as a player is every time I watch Boston, I feel like I'm losing my mind. I go, what's Gordon Hayward doing? Like, he doesn't play for Boston anymore, surely. What's happening? Oh my God, is he going to get injured? And then I realize it's Sam Hauser. Does anyone else have that? Is that just me being like, I'm stereotyping white players that look all the same? It just looks like Gordon Hayward. Anyway, Dorian Finney-Smith can hit some threes. He can also hit 0 of them, but he can hit some threes. Timmy Hardaway and Grayson Allen. And if you want to talk a bloke who is honestly the worst starter in the NBA, is he actually? Who is a worse starter in the NBA than Reggie Bullock? I don't think there's anyone. But he is literally there to shoot threes. Unfortunately, he can't, but that is what he is there to do. At some point, in some multiverse, he will hit some. And sometimes you just have to take a crack and go, well, the opportunity's there. He'll play 28 minutes. Maybe he takes 5 threes. Maybe this is the day he hits 3 of them. It probably isn't. But opportunity like him versus I'm going to take a flyer on Justin Holiday in case someone gets hurt and then he plays 20 minutes and then he takes 3s. Like, that's no use in that. Like, Reggie Bullock's going to start, I'm guessing. And he's going to have opportunities. And at some point, he won't be the worst player in the NBA, I guess. And then Adrian Griffin as well. He is really good. 3-3 opportunity for him? Yeah, why not? He's good. Rebounds. Jalen Duren, I think he's a good rebounder. Again, there is that uncertainty with Isaiah Stewart, but I don't think Stewart will play any center minutes. So Duren has closed over Bagley, I think 3 of the last 4 games. It wasn't last game, but he's a good option. Kevon Looney, good rebounder. Terrence Mann, great out-of-position rebounder. Justice Winslow is starting in place of Damian Lillard. So we know that he's not going to score much or do well with percentages, but he can help your rebounds. PJ Tucker, he does nothing else, but he might get 6 or 7 there. Dorian Finney-Smith, Immanuel Quickley, so that name again. And Bob Covington. Not big on Bob Covington as a 12-team league guy in general, but with so many players out, yeah, Covington's getting extra minutes, and it's worth looking at him. You want to see something barren? I don't know if it's more barren the assist or the blocks category, but the assist is pretty barren. Tyus Jones is there. Timothy John McConnell. And then the third guy that I've got projected to get assists who's available in over 50% of leagues, according to our advanced metric, not using a lot of public leagues or dead leagues, is Kevon Looney. Like, that's where we're at with getting assists. Now, Looney's a pretty good assist guy. I might get 4, but you can't get assists off the wire. It's so hard to find them. That's why McConnell and Jones have super value today or Sunday. Justice Winslow can get some assists. Kyle Anderson is a pretty good option there in Minnesota unless his back flares up. Javon Carter is going to, I expect, to continue to start until Middleton returns. Old mate Immanuel Quickley, who could easily get 9 if Brunson's out. Like, he is the guy. Again, I've talked about him a lot. You see him on the thumbnail. Quickley is the guy here, I think. And Grayson Allen can get you 3 or 4 as well. It is pretty rough. Blocks might be rougher. Let's look at steals. Who can we stream in to get some steals? Well, Javon Carter's an excellent steals guy. So is Kyle Anderson. 3 steal upside for those guys. Timothy John also. That's McConnell, if you don't know. He's a 3 steal upside guy as well. Justice Winslow, Dorian Finney-Smith. There's a lot of guys that can get steals. Tyus Jones, Immanuel Quickley has really upped his steal rate this season. And Joshy Green in Dallas. Steals it's why when I do rankings of players and using my formula, I do downweight the value of steals a little bit because they are variable day to day, week to week, year to year, a lot. High steal numbers really do crank up a player's overall ranking, making them look better than they are. And they are relatively available off the waiver wire. So there's some steal options you can use. Carter, Anderson, McConnell, Winslow, Finney-Smith, Jones, Quickley again, and Joshy Green. Today's episode is also brought to you by the fine folks over at PrizePicks. PrizePicks is daily fantasy, but instead of playing with salary caps and lineups against thousands of people, it's just you versus projections. Josh Green might have a projection of 1 steal. Do you want to go over or under that? Immanuel Quickley might have a projection of 4.5 assists. I'd go over. Yeah, you can have up to 6 of those different individual player projections in one lineup and win up to 25 times your entry fee back. But guess what? It's not just basketball. You can do disc golf as well. Pens down, disc golf's here. We can go in and create a lineup of disc golf over-under player projections. I never thought we'd see the day, but PrizePicks has rescued us from the hell that was no disc golf daily fantasy. You can also do other smaller sports like the NFL, NHL, college football, college basketball, men's and women's. The World Cup, I don't know, ever heard of it? I don't know. NASCAR, boxing, MMA. So many different things. And you can do it all at PrizePicks. Available in over 30 states and in Canada. Safe and fast withdrawals. So go to PrizePicks.com or download the app and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can receive 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code Locked On. If you deposit 100, PrizePicks just gives you $100. If you deposit 50, they give you 50 as well. So don't forget to enter the promo code Locked On at sign up for an instant deposit match of up to $100. Let's look at some blocks streaming options. It is rough. Jalen Duren really stands out above the pack here. These are all guys, again, who are available using our advanced roster percentage metric that are available in 50% or more. Duren's the guy. And then after that, I don't know. Bob Covington, maybe, sure, I guess. Kyle Anderson, yeah, he can block some shots. Brandon Clark, maybe. Paul Reed, yes. Joel Embiid is out. Paul Reed probably could be in the steals list as well. Paul Reed is going to block shots. That's a good one. Nico Batum. And then literally the next couple. Now, there are a few guys there like Drew Eubanks, who's questionable. I don't like to include players who are currently questionable on these lists of guys to stream in because you just might get dicked over. Now, Kevin Love would have appeared in some of them. He's questionable. Karis LeVert for some of them. He's questionable. But you know, I don't want to add those guys who are questionable. Javon Carter and AJ Griffin and Nick Batum are probably like these three guys here. They might get a block. But blocks are tough, man. We talked about it. If you don't get a block guy early, unless you snag Brook Lopez, the king of blocks, late in the draft, they're just down. The numbers are down for blocks. They're hard to find. And on the wire, man, there's not much there. Like Walker Kessler's rostered in too many leagues to even count. Not that the Jazz even play. Field goal percentage. This does include volume in this. Montrezl Harrell, pretty good field goal percentage guy. Brandon Clark, Kevon Looney, Dwight Powell. Dwight Powell is starting Saturday. I don't know if he'll start on Sunday. We thought maybe Christian Wood would start, but Jason Kidd remains bad. Paul Reed, Jalen Duren, Dan Gafford, even though he's playing like 8 minutes a night, and Lionheart, Jericho Sims.
You just made the list!
Because old mate Tom Thibodeau is deciding a 3-man center rotation is the way to go these days. Free throw percentage guys, Grayson Allen, Immanuel Quickley, wouldn't you know it? Amir Coffey, Peyton Pritchard, he should get extra minutes with Jason Tatum out. Gary Harris.
Nice, Gary!
Timmy Hardaway, Seth Curry, and Aaron Holiday. And guys, that will do it for me today. Don't forget to follow this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and on Odyssey. And if you're on YouTube, please thumb it up. Leave your comments down below. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.